So, my dear students, welcome back to my class on Physics 2. And today we'll be talking about the variety of display devices. Being a student of computer science and information technology, display is a very important and critical issue. Unless and until there is no display, obviously you cannot see anything. Just I'm having a problem with display problem. Okay, my this laptop display device does not work, so I have to use a TV for this purpose. Okay, you see, always I'm looking upwards during the presentation. Okay, so I've got a display problem. A mobile's display, which is a LCD display. Okay, if it is goes off, okay, your mobile is gone. So display is the key, and every mobile is a mini computer. So unless and until display is basically reflection of whatever you are doing. Okay, so display is very critical use. Now the common sense display is like the like the face of your computation or whatever you are doing. Okay, it can only be realized through display. Okay, okay. You see, historically we have been using the cathode ray tubes for purpose, and now we are using LCDs. All of any display you are using are LCD displays. Okay, LCD display. Um, Now LCD TVs are also very popular. LED TVs are very popular. So display technology has radically changed. 20 years back, when I purchased my first computer, the size of the monitor was even you need two people to carry that. Okay, because it was a huge computer with a big back. Okay, because those monitors are CRT monitors. Even if you're older TV, televisions are also that type of displays. Okay. Now, if you have to get a new display of your computer, a 17-inch display device, you can carry in one maybe within 2-3 fingers. Okay, well, it's so light because they are all TFT monitor, thin film transistor monitor. Thin film transistor is a one kind of liquid crystal display. I'll talk about in my presentation now. Okay. So now present displays are all mainly LCD displays. Okay, or TFT LCD displays. So historically, you see there is a change taken place in the display sectors. Plasma displays are also they have taken market for some time because they could not sustain because of their heavy cost, high cost. LCD TVs, LCD display, TFT LCD displays are the most popular displays as a matter of fact. So now the fact is that you can realize there is historical change in the display sector, particularly in the last 20 years or so. So in my discussion, actually, I'll focus on that. Your syllabus includes both CRT because that is has been used for many years. Still, you have got an experiment on cathode ray tube. Still, you are in electronics lab or in our lab for some purposes. You are using cathode ray tubes, cathode ray oscilloscopes, which uses CRTs. So there you are using CRT display. So how it works, that physics I will tell you. But one thing you realize this historical change in the display section. This has been not done by you, by the coders. It has been done on the hardware sectors. Okay. So how this and what is the physics of that doing all these changes? Okay, so this will be manifested in my presentation. So basically, you can see this is a 39 class in a row. This 39th lecture. Okay, this is me. Also, you can get into the topic called display devices. Okay. Now these are the popular display material. Cathode ray tubes have been historically used for display purpose. Okay. So displays have been historically used for the purpose of storing information for the purpose of you see seeing anything. Okay, you do. So cathode tube have been used externally. Okay, over the years. After that, flat panel cathode tube came. This old day cathode tube TVs we are having. My monitor was like that. Okay, very big back at the end, at behind. Okay, with the curved faces. Okay, now again, curve is also becoming important now in the latest LCD technology. Also, you have heard about the Samsung and LG's curved TV, but that is a altogether different application of thin film transistors. Okay, that is a different issue. Okay, so the old day curved monitor you are having and now present curved TVs are altogether different. Okay, now present curved TVs gives you better observation power. Okay, better resolution, higher resolution, large angle observation. Many features are there. So why the you see, in the early to 20 years back, okay, people are actually making the carved monitor was getting obsolete and flat panel CFTs were coming. Now again, all the good companies are coming with carved TVs. You see, if you see the TV ads, LG and Samsung are coming up with carved OLED TV. Okay, so in carved OLED TV, what they are doing, they are using organic light emitting diodes. Okay, there is a kind of TFT monitors actually, organic TFT also, organic film transistors also are used in some of the cases. Okay, that TFT display, TFT LCD display is one type of LCD screen display that I'll discuss it in my presentation or in my discussion. So now that means what I'm trying to tell you, now curve is becoming important for giving the better high angle observation. Now curve is getting important because of getting every information about the whatever you are seeing. But 20 years back, people came out of the curved TVs or curved monitors and getting the flat panel, then LCDs, then video cards, TFT screen, all these things slowly developed. Okay. So what was there in the, you see, that means the entire technology has changed. And technology can only change if physics changes. So entire physics has also changed. Okay. So the physics of the material of the display has been changed from CRTs to TFTs. So those stories I will mention in my discussion. Okay. So we begin our journey with cathode tubes. Okay, cathode tubes. Now cathode ray tube, CRT, is a abbreviation of cathode tube. It has been used over the years. For years, it was used for the technology in television and computers and the display. A CRT works by moving an electron beam back and forth across the back of the screen of the TV or monitor. Each time the beam makes a pass across the screen, it lights up phosphor dots on inside the glass. So how it operates, let me show you. Okay. Illuminating the active portion of the screen by drawing many such lines. Each line is called a frame. Okay, from the bottom to top, so many such lines are drawn, and ultimately a total picture is created. Okay, now total image is created. You see, historically, the earliest version of the cathode tube was known as the Brown tube. It was invented by German physicist Ferdinand Braun in 1897. So in 1897, first cathode tube screen display came in. 1907, Russian scientist Boris Rosing used the CRT in the receiving end of an experimental video signal to form a picture. The first commercially made electronic television gets into the cathode tube were manufactured by Telefunken Company of Germany in 1934. So Germany is the pioneer, okay, in the cathode technology. Okay, in 1934, the first TV was devised. In India, it came much later on, okay, 1960s or so. So basically, what they are doing now, we are doing 30 years later on. Okay, now these are the variety of display devices. Okay, now emissive display means cathode tube display. Old day display, cathode tube display, you can see on the screen, it was flat, it was curved screen, big back, but later on flat panel CRT came into business. Now emissive display, plasma displays are also there. I will not discuss it in my discussion here because plasmas are very cost effective, highly expensive. People do not, now people are getting away from it. Thin film electroluminescence displays are there, LED light emitting diode displays are there. Right? Okay, in our LCD display also we'll be using LED for, but that is for different purpose. That is called backlight LED technology. But light emitting diodes are also used separately as emissive light of the display process. Now non-emissive display is the optical effect. It is convergent sunlight or light from the other sources into the graphic pattern. Now liquid crystal displays includes that, and passive matrix liquid crystal display and active matrix. Okay, now you have heard it. Okay, PMLCD, AMLCD. Now people are using AMOLED. Okay, active matrix, organic light emitting diode technology. Okay, all these things are there. Okay, so what is LCD, etc. We'll now discuss. Okay, and any display devices of a cathode tube, all the colors that you'll be getting in either in CRT system or LCD system, they are combination of these RGBs. Okay, these RGBs together makes a subpixel, and many such RGB together makes a subpixel. Okay, here in the CRT it's a pixel. Okay, this RGB. Okay, so this is, sorry, this together is called a pixel, and each individual R and G and B are the subpixel. Okay, and you see the more and more pixels you produce, give better and better resolutions you can create. Okay. So this is what you can see in a color monitor. Okay, and you can see all the colors that you can see in any screen. It will be LCD, it will be LED, or it will be TFT, or it will be cathode ray tube, or combination of the three colors RGB. And if you mix them, some examples are there. So red and blue gives you magenta, green and red produces yellow, green, red and blue produces almost whitish color. Cyan will be there with green and blue. Okay, so in this way, variety of colors are produced. Okay, so the a cathode ray tube is basically a vacuum tube. Okay, it consists of an electron gun and a fluorescent screen with internal and external means of accelerating the electron beam. Now these are all words. Okay, let me explain it through a graph, picture. You see, this picture is very critical and crucial. And now these are the connector pins. They will be connecting to the power. Okay, it will be connected to the power. These are base. Okay, now this is acting like the actually the cathode. Okay, now here there are filaments are there. Now filament is either surrounded by a cylindrical cathode, or that cylindrical cathode is made hot. Okay, because you are sending some current. So these are made of metals. So electrons do emit by the method of thermionic emission. If and you can see across the length of the cylinder, actually the length of the tube, actually a lot of plates are there. Initial these two plates are called the focusing plates. Basically, they do not allow this electron beam to move in other direction. These two are chopped off. So basically, they are used to focus the beam. So now these are the horizontal deflecting plates. Okay, so basically, if you apply voltage across this plate, if you apply voltage across this plate, their job, electron with a charge, because of its charge, okay, if it is moving, apply any voltage, there will be an electric field, that is voltage by the separation between the plate. So it will be one Q into E type of force will be there. Electrons are a minus charge mainly. So depending on the and you can see depending on the polarity of the voltage, that is depending on the direction of the voltage, the force, certain force will be applied. So ultimately it will be deflected. Okay, two types of deflection you can give. There is a vertical deflecting plate also, you can see. So you can apply voltage across this plate also. So ultimately horizontal deflection will be taking horizontally, either this direction or this direction, and vertical deflecting plates will be either coming in this direction or in this direction. Actually, if you think in terms of suppose you are watching this total the screen itself, this is a screen. Okay, let me show it here. If you look at the screen, this vertical deflection is being done. This vertical deflection is being done here. So this is a vertical deflection. Okay, so that means spots are either here or here. And horizontal deflection, this is responsible for the vertical deflection. And for horizontal deflection, what you have to do, these two plates are there for horizontal deflecting plates. So this will be giving the deflection in the horizontal. So in this way, on the screen actually, or you see this is one electronic journey. Many such electrons will have to come together, and you will get many such lines. Okay, these are called frames, and all the frames together will be actually making a image. Okay, so this is how it operates. In your cathode ray tube also, cathode ray oscilloscope also same thing happens. So two things you are doing: you are hitting the filament, the cathode there. Cathode is shooting electron by the method of thermionic emission, and you are actually controlling the electronic flow using the horizontal and vertical deflecting plates. Okay. Now a cathode ray tube, same story is written. Okay, and now look at the screen. I was silent about the screen. Now this screen is actually coated with a material called phosphor. Okay, this is a phosphor coated screen. So whenever any electron beam hits there, okay, you get a spot there. Okay, that is called impinging. Okay, high kinetic energy electron beam hits the screen, and some colors to come out. Okay, because of the transfer of kinetic energy. Okay, so in this way you get the spots on the screen. Okay. Now, a few more points. An image is produced by controlling the intensity of each of the three electron beams. Okay, in one point to be noted. Okay, Now this system is actually called an electron. This is called an electron gun. The electron gun is producing electron beam. They are hitting on the screen, and so if you look at the screen, on the screen you basically get a spot. Okay. So now in a cathode tube, you can get one or more electron gun. Okay. So your job is to control this electron gun. Okay, this flow of the electron to get the to create an image. Okay, so your job is to control the intensity of each of the three electron beams on an additive primary color, so you can get variety of colors. Okay, the beams are bent by magnetic deflection or by a very magnetic field generated by coils and driven by electrostatic electronic circuits around the neck of the tube. Okay, although electrostatic deflection is commonly used in oscilloscope, cathode oscilloscope uses electrostatic deflection. Okay, cathode oscilloscope, you know now how CFTs work. Again, same story. Okay, you see electrons are coming. Okay, this is a magnetic deflection. Okay, so ultimately you are getting a spot here. Okay, you can see there same story is written. Okay, now this is how the actual monitor looks like. Okay, electron, you see there are three guns are there, three electron guns are there. Okay, three electrons gun beams are there. That is a shadow mask. Funneling glass are there. These are the frames. These are the phosphor screen. It is hitting there. Okay, and there is a panel glass also in front. Okay, so from the electron gun, they are actually coming and hitting, and you see you can get variety of colors. Okay, three guns. Okay, in front of that, three transparent colors will be there. Three transparent plates will be three colored plates will be there: red, green, and blue. Okay, so based on that, and you can control actually the whatever be the color you are going to get, you can also control using the type of phosphor materials you are using. Okay, you can see, you please see here, the image is produced by controlling the intensity of each of the three electron beam. So this is one electron beam. Okay, so if you suppose, okay, and you see, and now you are getting some color here depending on the phosphor material. So red. Okay, suppose you are getting red. So similarly, another electron beam will be giving you say blue. Another electron beam will be giving you suppose green. So now the which color you wish. Okay, you have to control the intensity. Suppose you don't need red or green, you want blue. So these two intensities will be less, like that. Okay. So in this way, it actually controls. Okay. So if I show it here, suppose these are my, you can see there are three electron guns are there. Electron gun 1, electron gun 2, electron gun 3. So from gun 1, electron beam is coming out, gun 2 electron beam is coming out, gun 3 electron beam is coming out, and deflecting plates are there. Okay, deflecting plates are there to control the electron flow, magnetic deflecting plates. So ultimately, you can whatever be the, whether you need this, suppose this produces a red color on the phosphor screen, this produces green color on the phosphor screen, and this produces blue color on the phosphor screen. Now whether which color you want, suppose you need green, so you reduce this intensity, that means this flow of the electron beam you have to control, this has to be lower. Okay, then and only then these two are lower, and this you have to keep at a higher value, this intensity has to be on a higher value. So then and only then you get a green color here, then this spot will become then you will get a green spot here. Okay, then it will become green. The opposite is true. Suppose you want a red color, So then this intensity has to be low, this intensity has to be low, and this has to be high. So then and only then you can get a red. You can, the picture will be reddish here now. Now it will become reddish. Now if you keep both red and green on, so both the intensities are high, so you'll get a mixed color. They will be additive of red and green. So what you get if you mix red and green, you can see on the screen I presented few minutes back. If you mix red and green, you get the yellow. So if you produce these two colors, red and green, so if both these intensities are high, then obviously you will end up with a yellow color. So this will become yellowish. So now I do not know whether you can see it or not. So you'll get a yellow picture. Okay. So that's the point, is that three guns are there. You control the electron flow from the gun itself. Three guns. Each gun is going to give you one color. So these three colors together, these RGB together, they are all sub-pixels. So these three colors together will be making a pixel. Okay. These three together. One pixel means this RGB together makes one pixel. Okay, and now you control. If you want red color, green and blue will be with lesser intensity. If you need blue color, red and green will be with lesser intensity. If you want blue color, red and green will be lesser intensity. If you want yellow, blue will be with less, red and green will be dominant. So there you get variety of pixels. Okay. Now various phosphotes are available depending upon the color. How do you produce by impinging electron on the phosphor screen? So various types of phosphotes are available depending upon the needs of the measurement and or display application. The brightest color and persistent of the illumination depends on the type of phosphor used on the CRT screen. Phosphotes are available with persistence ranging from less than 1 microseconds to persistence means how much time the phosphor are actually keeping the light on. Okay, suppose if it is few nanoseconds, you can't see. If it is few microseconds, you can't see. If it is a few seconds, that then only can see our possibly or with human eye. But again, if you have to change the color, because in TV screen or our computer screen, the color has to continuously change. So basically, nowadays it is obsolete. But just remember the old TVs, good quality TVs. Okay, the sustain should not be, there will be proper balance. Okay, okay. So phosphor screens are available with persistence ranging from from less than 1 microseconds to several seconds. Okay. For visual observation or brief transient events, long persistent phosphors will be desirable. Okay. For seeing it in TV or something, you need higher persistence. Otherwise, how could you see? For events which are fast and repetitive, the high frequency, shorter persistence is needed. Okay. When displaying fast one-shot events, the electron beam must deflect very quickly with few electrons impinging on the screen, leading to a faint and invisible display. Oscilloscope, CRTs, these are all guidelines presented here, designed for very fast signals, can give a bright display by passing the electron beam through a microchannel plate just before it reaches the screen. Through the phenomena of secondary emission, this plate multiplies the number of electrons reaching the phosphor screen, giving a significant improvement in writing rate or brightness and improved sensitivity of the spot size as well. So it is used in cathode ray oscilloscopes. Okay, one additional microchannel. Okay, if you produce it, so it gives a secondary microchannel plate which gives secondary emission. Okay, so multiplies the number of electrons. Now in colored CRTs, as I mentioned already, okay, three colors are there and you have to mix them. Okay. Okay, one mask is there for absorbing the electrons that would otherwise hit the wrong phosphor. The shadow mask tube uses the metal plates with tiny holes. So all these things are there. Okay, placed so that the electron will only illuminate the correct phosphor. That is the control of intensity. How do you control the intensity? So these are the process. Okay, the color tubes in CRTs basically you see three guns are there. Suppose so you get red, green, and blue. Now if you get red, green, and blue, okay, red, green, and blue are there. Okay, for three electron guns are there, either in straight line or in triangular configuration. That okay, they are usually constructed in single unit. A grill or mask absorbs the electron that would otherwise hit the wrong phosphor. And yeah, this is the way you control the intensity. Okay, masking is there. A shadow mask tube uses a metal plate with tiny holes placed so that the electron beams only illuminate the correct phosphor on the face. The three beams in a color CFT would not strike the screen at the same point without convergence collaborative calibration. The set would need to be manually adjusted to convert the three colors beam together to maintain a color accuracy. Which color you want to know? Okay, you can see these are the three beams are there. Beautiful picture. This is the masking you are using. Where you want it all these three colors should be there to avoid the undue entrance. Okay, now this 3 RGB, this makes a pixel, and you see they are all on the screen. Okay, so this is the way cathode tube operates. Okay, now persistence issues I already mentioned. Okay, and you can get these are popular resolutions. Now cathode tubes have got many disadvantages. Okay, it's a huge big back is there. It's a so emissive display, so it emits electromagnetic radiation. Small amount of X-ray band radiation, which can result in health hazard. It emits X-ray. Constant refreshing of CRT monitor can result in headache. If you watch it for a very long time, cathode ray operates at very high voltage. It can overheat the system, result in an in pollution, and a lot of heating is there, a lot of wastage of energy is there because you have to produce some field, you have to make the electron to flow. Okay, a strong vacuum exists in it and can also result in pollution. Okay, they are used in heavy, and obviously they are too heavy to carry, and they have got any you can control the monitor's brightness. That is only advantage. Now I'll move into the other type of display that is called the liquid crystal display. What shall I do? What shall I do? I continue, okay, to continue with the discussion of the liquid crystal display or LCD display. LCD display, what is liquid crystal? Okay, liquid crystal is a intermediate phase between solid and liquid. Okay, this is a crystalline phase to liquid phase. Okay, in between there is an intermediate phase. Okay, this is a solution. So this, okay, so if you heat it, okay, from crystalline phase. So this is a solution. Okay, this is a solution. This is in solution phase. Now, if you cool it, you'll get a liquid crystal configuration. Okay, so small crystals are there. Okay, physical property differs. That's why you have to study it separately. So this is now liquid crystal. If you further cool it, it will get can be a solid crystal. We can get into the crystalline phases. Okay. Now, liquid crystal was discovered by Frederick Reisner in 1888. First in the cholesterol benzoylate. Okay, it shows two melting points. Okay, one at 145 degrees Celsius, and another is cholesterol benzoylate. Okay, it has a viscous milky liquid between this region. So it has got two melting points. You can see one at 145 degrees Celsius, another at 179 degrees Celsius. It becomes transparent. So that means between 145 and 179, it is in intermediate state, and that is a liquid crystal state. This case, okay, this is the this state actually. Okay, this is the liquid crystal state. Okay, first identified long back. Okay, in 1888. So three types of crystalline liquid crystals are possible. Okay, one is crystalline. Okay, you see here. Okay, this is a crystalline solid, regular array of atoms. Okay, this is isotropic liquid. Okay, the array is lost, and crystalline LCD is in between. Okay, it is not purely regular, not purely lost. It is somewhere in between. Okay, there you see there are some angles. Okay, these you see they are making some angle in between. Okay, these two are making some angle in between. Okay, some angle is there. In this case, all are parallel, all are in the same direction, all are in the same direction. They are maintaining some sort of order. Now here also, here it is lost. Okay, it is in this direction, it is in this direction, it is in this direction, it is in this. All are random. Okay, randomness is there. So now here, slightly randomness is there, but slightly order. You see, they are ordered, but also these two are in random configuration. If you compare this to this and this or this, okay, slight randomness is there. Okay, that's the LCD liquid crystal display. Now, degree of order in LCD may be positional order, orientational order, and bond orientational order. Okay. Now, substances that exhibit properties of liquid crystal consist of long, rigid rod of disc-shaped molecules, as I have shown you. Molecules with polar groups that exhibit dipole-dipole interaction or dipole-induced interaction, hydrogen bonding, are capable of forming the liquid crystal. These are some of the potential substances having dipole interaction, dipole induced interaction, hydrogen bonding. Okay, they can show this liquid crystal conformation. Okay, I have kept you some with some benzene ring kind of thing. Okay, you can see this can be this. Okay, dipole interaction. Okay, this can be one else potential liquid crystal system. Okay, these are all LCD display system. Okay, potential system. The condition is that they're long rigid rod and these same molecules. Okay. Okay. I've got a question for you. Okay, which of the following liquid more chemistry knowledge needed? Okay. This is a long chain structure. Okay, it is possible. Now, a liquid crystal can be of two types: thermotropic liquid crystal, phase forms as a function of temperature, and lyotropic liquid crystal, phase form as a function of the uh, concentration of the system. Okay. Now, thermotropic liquid crystal is the phase changes. It is available in most extensively used liquid crystal. The phase changes with the change in temperature. Based on the degree of the alignment, thermotropic liquid crystal can be subdivided into three parts. Okay, one is schematic. Schematic is this much. This is a schematic. Another is nematic. Another is chlorosteric. Okay, chlorosteric. You see, chlorosteric is altogether different. Okay, this is some of. Okay, you see these planes are at different angles. Okay, this angle and this angle are altogether different. Okay. Now, what is schematic phase? In increasing the solid crystals, first converts into nematic phase. Okay, all molecules are unidirectional. No correlation of the molecular position from one layer to the next layer. Okay. So this is schematic phase. Consequently, well-ordered layers can slide over one another into manner similar to SHOP. Okay, that means just like a SHOP moves. So schematic A phase molecules are oriented along the direction. This is schematic A. So all the molecules are oriented, you see, in this direction, along that same direction, along the direction. Okay. And schematic C phase molecules are tilted away from the direction. You see, they are slowly. If this is the initial direction, so now molecules are actually tilted away. They are tilting away. Okay. So this is the schematic phase. It is initially maintaining the order of the solid system, but you see, but it is slowly deviating. Okay. Nematic phase. Molecules maintain parallel and nearly parallel arrangement. All the molecules are not unidirectional, but you see here almost they are unidirectional. You see, if you look these molecules, they are all all the molecules are in the same direction. All of them are like this. They are almost parallel. This is schematic A. Schematic C, they are not parallel to the field. They are slightly oriented, but you see they themselves are in the certain direction. This is a schematic case. But nematic, you see this is lost. Okay, molecules have orientation, have no longer. Okay, you see this is the direction. You see if this is in some direction. Okay, you see not all the molecules are in the same direction that you can see. Okay, there is angle form. Okay. This is the most common liquid crystal phase. Okay, in most of the LCD display, this is used. Now another is chlorosteric style Chloros, chloros, Cholesteryl phase or chiral nematic phase, you can see this phase exhibits chirality. Chirality means rotation. Okay. The first observed for cholesterol derivatives, only chiral molecules can give shape of phase. The you can see here, okay, you see in a given layer they are maintaining in the same direction, but in between layers, okay, you see last two cases if you see schematic, okay, schematic was that in a all of them are in the same direction, okay, maybe parallel, maybe slightly deviated. Pneumatic is that in the same layer they are in the different direction, and chiral pneumatic is different. Okay, you see they are oriented in between in a given layer. Okay, they are in the same direction, much like schematic. But if you consider two layers, these two layers, okay, if this is okay, they are not in the same direction. So chiral pneumatic. Okay. So in general, the sequence of transition from thermotropic liquid crystal is that if you heat it from isotropic liquid to schematic phase, if you cool it obviously, liquid to schematic phase, okay, then a pneumatic phase and ultimately to solid phase. Now lyotropic liquid crystal are basically concentration dependent, hydrophilic polar seal, okay, and hydrophobic is there. Lyotropic phase shows liquid crystal protein only at certain concentration. Okay, extra solvent phase is required. Phase of LC changes with change in the concentration. Soaps, detergents, surfactants are good examples of lyotropic liquid crystal. Okay, you can see this is low concentration, molecules are free, strongly higher concentration. Okay, micelle formation, higher concentration, hexagonal cumular phase, and very high concentration, lamellar phase. Okay, with increasing concentration, phase is changing. Okay, for this type of crystals. Now, application of liquid crystal, first LCD has been, it is used for display purposes. Obviously, that is why you are learning it after knowing this. In 1973, George Gray, okay, first commercially stable LCD for first synthesized LCD for commercial purpose is a chemically stable substance, okay, cyanoviphenione, synthesized by George Gray in 1973 because of two unique characteristics. Liquid crystals are used in LCD because you can rotate the plane of what it does. It can rotate the plane of polarized light due to the unidirection pneumatic phase. Okay, all of them are in the same direction. Okay, so it can rotate it can change the state of polarization of a light. Okay, polarized light, rotate the plane of polarization of the light due to the unique direction of the molecules, and change the orientation of the in presence of electric field. So if you under applied bias, okay, if you do not put any voltage, all of them will be under some direction, and if you apply some voltage, they will be in a different orientation. Okay, and in LCD display, mainly pneumatic LCD liquid crystal displays are used. Okay, now this is the configuration. If you try to realize it, I will explain it in detail more. This is the unpolarized light. So that means electric field is vibrating in all possible directions. This is the unpolarized light. Okay. These are the glass plates. Okay. After that, you see this is the light passing through. This is the liquid crystals. Okay. This portion is the liquid crystal. As you can see here. Okay. Depending on the orientation, the plane of polarization rotated. Okay. So you utilize this idea. Okay, pixel, etc. I defined for you. Now this is the configuration of a liquid crystal panel. Okay, you see if, just to explain how it works. Okay, I just you can get automatic explanation of all these things, and We will use the actually twisted nematic rings. Okay. So how it works? Let us see. You see, this is an unpolarized light. Okay. Unpolarized light means light is an electromagnetic wave. This is the electric field vibrating. This is the vector along which the direction is the light is moving. Okay, and this is the direction of the magnetic field vector. So electric field vector, magnetic field vector, and that is the propagation vector. So three vectors are there. So if electric field is vibrating in this direction, so that means we say this is the direction of vibration of the electric field in this particular plane made by E and K. But idea is that if you use any unpolarized sources of light, suppose any source S is there, electric field is suppose moving in this direction. So the obviously if you define this is the direction of K in which the light is moving. So this is your the direction in which the electric field is vibrating. So if you now consider another one, suppose it is coming in this direction, you see the direction in which electric field is vibrating is changing. Okay. If you consider from a point source is moving all possible direction, this direction, you see this is the direction in which the electric field is changing. So basically, this type of lights are called unpolarized light. Our electric field vector vibrating in variety of direction. Okay, you can see electric field is in the first case it is vibrating in this plane, in this direction. After that, in the second case, I have shown. Okay, it is vibrating in this direction. All probable direction it is vibrating. So this type of if electric field vibrates in variety of direction, okay, that is called an unpolarized light. Okay, this is an unpolarized light. Okay, so now it after that it passes through a polarization plate. Polarization. The idea of polarization is that okay after it passes to this medium, okay, what it does, okay, it actually keeps the electric field to vibrate in a definite direction. So these are all vertically polarized plates. It is moving like this. So if you keep another vertically polarized plate here, okay, so vertically polarized lights are passing through this. Okay. Now here another polarizing plate is there. Now this is horizontally polarized. You see, this is vertically polarized, this is horizontally polarized. So it is not going to allow this light to pass through. So your output will be 0 here. Now you see you insert a liquid crystal. So now this is your unpolarized light. Normally electric field is vibrating in all possible direction. It's indicated by this way. So what vertically polarized light does, it makes the electric field to vibrate in this direction. Now what it does actually, you see liquid crystal, this is a liquid nematic, twisted nematic phase liquid crystal. So now this is not connected to any voltage source. If you do not connect any voltage source, so they will be at some angle. Okay, so what it does after passing to the liquid crystal, it gets bent. The light actually gets bent by 90 degrees. Okay, now you see these are horizontally polarized plates. So this is rotated in the horizontal direction. So ultimately we will be having some output. Okay. And if you put a transparent glass plate here, suppose you are putting a red plate here, so you'll get a red color. Getting color is also not difficult. So now if you same story is this, if you put a blue colored screen here, you'll get a blue color is coming out. Okay. Now the beauty is that suppose you are connecting the source, you compare the two pictures. In this case, there is no connection. If you apply the voltage, so liquid crystal will be oriented in favor of the field. So what would happen? You see that if you look at the picture, this is the unpolarized light is coming. Unpolarized light means electric field is vibrating in all possible direction. So here it is unpolarized. Okay. Okay. Now this is sorry, here it is polarized. Okay. Here after passing through the vertically polarized plate, electric field is only oriented in favor of this direction. But now you have now switched on. So all the liquid crystal, this crystalline phases, LCDs, these phases are all in the same direction. They are not making any angle. So the automatically light will also move to the same thing. So it will pass through the medium. So you'll get a vertically polarized light in here. And this does not allow any vertically polarized light. So your output will be 0. Okay. So this is how it operates. Okay. Please see. Light is coming in. Now all this is switch voltage is on. Okay. You get no output. Now you switch on it. Okay. No, you get nothing. It's a beautiful picture. No output because it is switched on. Now if you switch off, it will be rotated. Okay. And here, if you use a red color filter, you get the red colored output. Okay. These are ITO glass transparent electrodes are used here. Okay. Now in TFT display, actually this liquid crystal is made of transistors. Okay, thin film transistors, liquid crystal display that is called. So that is realized through the by using by controlling it by here the transistors are used. You see how it operates. Unpolarized light is passing through the liquid crystal, and you can get three colors. You can get red, you can green, blue. Okay, these RGB together will make a pixel. Okay. Look, try to realize this picture very carefully. Okay. So this is a light source or light guide panel in LED backlight LED technology. Here actually a panel of LEDs are used. So optical, you get unpolarized light. So this is a polarizer. This black one is a polarizer. So it is basically polarizing the light. Okay, now glass substrate and TFT is there after that. Okay, now these are the LCDs, liquid crystals. Okay, and in front of the each liquid crystal array, there you can see there the colored fields are there. Okay, colored filters are there based on the output changes. And this is determining. Okay, this is horizontally oriented. Okay, and as I have shown here, this is coming here. This is vertical orientation. If it is off, then it will be horizontal orientation, and ultimately it will pass through the system, and you'll get an output. Okay, and I will get the corresponding color, and this you can control. Okay, with ITO glass different layers. Okay, now you see this picture. So many layers are there. This is bottom chassis, reflector sheets, diffuser sheet, prism sheet, bottom polarizer, glass substrate. These are thin film transistors are there. Liquid crystal is there. This is a main thing. Okay. Liquid crystal is there. After that, okay, this is the thin film transistors are there. You can see how wonderful it is operating. Okay. Very good observation. You see liquid crystal is rotating it, okay? Coming, light coming. It is if you connect it with the voltage source, okay, all of them are in the same direction, you get no output. If you do not connect the liquid crystal with, if you do not apply any voltage, okay, it will move straight forward and you get this some output. Okay, red, green, okay, red, green, blue together is the red, green, blue together will make a pixel. Each and every individual is called a subpixel. Here on the right side you get no output. Here now you are getting an output. Okay. Look at the layers. Light is coming. This is your thin film transistor layer. Okay, transistor layer. Okay. After that, followed by liquid crystal, which is giving an actual rotation. Okay. So light is coming. Polarization is there for horizontal polarization, for vertical polarization, followed by thin film transistor, followed by liquid crystal for to give the rotation. Liquid crystal connected with the voltage source will give no output. Without connected the voltage source, give some output. Okay. Now these are the colored films which will going to give you colors. Okay, and at the output is there. Okay, beautiful picture. Now, how LED is connected with this LCD technology? LED screen is actually an LCD screen, LED TV that are being sold. But what is happening that backlight that you are presenting instead of the CCFL backlight, yeah, light emitting diodes are used for production of the light. Okay, because LED are more energy efficient. You can make the array of the LEDs in variety of the way. You can three types of LED technologies are available in TVs. One is or any display system. One is the full array, and there is edge lit LED, and there is discrete lit LED. Full array means you can see the picture on the across the back of the LCD. That is, it is acting as a source of light. Okay, to come back to this picture, the source of light. Okay, this is a LED strip. Okay, this is producing the light. So basically, I am not talking about this portion. Okay, I am not talking about this portion. LED strip. Okay, it is written here. Now, the way you keep the LED strip, it can be at the edge, then it is edge array. Okay, three types so you can keep the LEDs. That is what I am discussing now. One is full array in the edge lit, another is direct. This is a full array. You see, it's a full backlight LEDs are there. Okay, this is full array. The LEDs are distributed evenly behind the entire screen. This produces a more uniform backlight and provides a more effective use of local dimming. Okay, actually the TV I am using, it is a backlight, full array backlight LED. The HD LED will be on the screen. You can see the difference on the screen. This is full array and this will be at the end. The animation I was showing there, this was the HD LED. You see, this is the HD LED. It is at the edge. Okay, it is at the edge. So it's a HD LED. Okay. The most common method for LED TVs with an HD LED screen, the LED are placed at the peripheral of the screen. Depending on the television, it can be all around the screen or only on the side of the bottom. This allows the screen to be very thin, flat, flash lighting or clouding. Okay, direct LED is there. Okay, it's like this is how the lower end LED TVs are constructed actually. To the full array method, similar to full array method, the LEDs are directly behind the screen. These tubes are not very thin because the space required behind the screen to add the LEDs and to diffuse the light over a big area. Okay, here you see it is more diffusive type. Okay, so it basically directly it is a okay the quality is low. Okay, and now you see the animation. Full array is the local dimming is possible. That is a better display is possible. Edge lit also local dimming is possible. So because it is divided in sectors, and directly it okay, it's a much lower pressure global dimming. That means all will go up together. So that means if this type of panel is damaged, then you are gone. And if this type of panel is damaged actually, okay, because of local dimming facility, you can actually sustain also for some time. Okay. LED have got very long life, low maintenance, high efficiency, and they do not produce heat. Okay. Okay, they are very expensive. Okay, limited range of temperature from 0 to 60 degree, restricted viewing angle. So if you have to overcome viewing angle, then you need to go beyond this technology, and speed is very slow. Now I move into the thin film transistor, how it is coming. Thin film transistor liquid crystal display is a variant of liquid crystal display, and it uses thin film transistor technology to improve the image quality, such as the addressability and the contrast. Okay. TFT LCD is an active matrix LCD in contrast to passive matrix LCD or simple direct driven. Okay, LCDs with few segments. Now some information are there. You can see on the screen. TFT based liquid crystal display was conceived by Bernard Licher of RCA Laboratories in 1968, long back. In 1971, Licher and Marlowe and Nestor and Cloud, okay, Woods demonstrated 2 by 18 matrix displaying using a dynamic scattering mode. In 1973, Brody and some other scientists developed a cadmium selenide based TFT, which they used to, cadmium selenide is a photosensitive material. Okay. Uh, which they use to demonstrate, and it has got non-linear optical property also, gadolinium selenide, which is used to demonstrate the first CDS thin film transistor liquid crystal display, TFT LCD. Brody and Fang Chen Luo demonstrated the first active matrix liquid crystal display using CDSE display. And 2013, the most modern high resolution, high quality electronic visual display are active matrix display. So let me just discuss what is an active matrix display. An active matrix LCD display is like this one. Okay, if you see it, these things have been discussed. So what is a passive matrix display? Direct address display is this much when the display include limited variable components such as watches, calculator. These are called direct display of the LCD. Calculator was there, the direct address display device. Okay, simple electronics used to control the component. You can see there. Okay, you can see it. This is used in calculators. Okay. Now, passive matrix display rows of electrodes on one piece of glass, columns of electrodes on the opposing on the piece of glass. So complex electrical waveform control the voltage differential at the inversion of the electrodes. The intersection of the columns and rows are the pixels. Okay, you can see there. Okay, and it has some disadvantages are there. As more rows and columns are there, high voltage, high range adjacent channels are interferes, range limits, reduces contrast, limits the types of useful liquid crystal. Okay, it is usually limited to about 50 rows. Twisted pneumatic display work best with this voltage variation. It can be used for it cannot be used for the passive matrix display. So for passive matrix display cannot use twisted pneumatic display. And active matrix display is that allows very high resolution. Each subpixel is individually controlled by an isolated thin film transistor. So what thin film transistor does, okay, it is an active matrix display. So by this, each subpixel, that means each red, green, and blue, is individually controlled by one TFT, thin film transistor. It allows the electrical signal for each subpixel to avoid influencing adjacent elements. So contrast will be better. Okay, and a TFT is patterned into a glass layer. So that is what you have seen here. Okay. So now let me get into that discussion. So it is an active matrix LCD. Okay. So Brody and Fang Chen Luo demonstrate the first active matrix LCD display, AMLCD, using cadmium selenide TFTs in long back in 1974, and the term active matrix. Okay, they utilized. Okay, now the high quality electronic visual display use TFT based, obviously all the you can realize each pixel you are controlling, so you have to use thin film transistor. The liquid crystal displays used in calculators and other devices are direct displays I mentioned. Okay, but for the better display you have to use this. Each pixel here is controlled, okay, using the transistors. Okay, thin film transistor. So there is a row column type of arrangement. All these things are written here. Okay. So how it operates that I have written here, the one-way current passing characteristics of the transistor prevents the charge that is being applied to each pixel from being drained between the refreshes of display images. Each pixel is a small capacitor with layer of insulating liquid crystal and sandwich between transparent conductive ITO layers. The silicon layer TFT LCD is typically deposited using the PECVD process, chemical deposition, photoemission, chemical deposition, and vapor deposition technique. Transistor takes up only a small fraction of the area of each pixel, and the rest of the silicon film is etched away to allow light to easily pass through it. Polycrystalline silicon is sometimes used to display, requiring higher TFT performance. Examples include small high resolution displays such as those found in projectors and viewfinders. Amorphous silicon phase-based TFTs are far the most common due to their lower production cost, whereas polycrystalline are most highly costly. Okay. Now this is the same explanation again. It is an advanced display system. Now this is a field effect transistor. Everybody knows it's a source drain transistor, and electrons exit from the source to drain. And by controlling this gate voltage or source to drain voltage, you can control the electron flow. It is available in the N channel and P channel type configuration. Okay, you know this. Okay, and depending on that, you can operate it in the enhancement mode and the depletion. Okay, enhancement mode. Okay, N channel device. You can control the electron flow. Okay, I don't have to mention this. These are known topic. Okay. Thin film transistor is a special kind of field effect transistor that are made by deposition of thin films of the different materials that makes up the transistor. In silicon thin transistor, conducting carriers are electrons. Electrons dip from the source to the electrode that drain the electrode, which results in a current flow to the source to drain, as you can see in this picture. Okay, this picture goes from source to drain. Okay, the switching structure is based on the metal insulator semiconductor structure. There is a gated structure which is also used to widely in the IC industry with the crystalline silicon. In such a structure, the metal can attract and repel the carriers at the semiconductor side, which changes the carrier concentration of the semiconductor. Thin film transistors, you can see this is just a configuration representation. Okay. This is some more information about the thin film transistor. Is a picture of non-silicon based thin film transistor. There is organic molecule it has been used for and zero based material. Organic materials can be fabricated. Organic TFT can be fabricated with low temperature deposition and a solution process. Less complex compared to conventional SI based technology. And you can see that Fuji film one. You can also rotate it also. It is mechanically flexible of the organic materials, sir. It is low cost and organic materials can be used as backbone of the flexible display. And you see now organic displays are coming into business, or this curve technology is coming, and curve, okay, for better angle exposure. Okay, benefit and rough thin. It is lightweight. Okay, it is flexible display. All these advantages are there. Okay. Now these are some of the organic semiconductors popular: pentacene, alpha, sexythiophene, copper, phthalocyanine. Okay, some of the organic transistors, they're popular. A lot of literatures are there. You can see that thiophene structure C6 connected with C6H13. Okay. So this processing part I do not highlight. You can see some of the example of the optical thin organic transistors. Okay. So this is OLED light emitting. Sony has come up with the organic light emitting diodes also. Sony Corporation announced that it developed super flexible 80 micromillimeter thick, okay, organic thin film transistor, even full copper, full color organic light emitting diode display, which can be wrapped around a thin cylinder. Okay, to create the display, Sony developed OTFT with an original organic semiconductor material, a PXX derivative with 8 times into the current modulation of the conversion of the OTFT. Okay. So I'm not getting into the details of all these things, not needed. Some basic configuration, device configurations are there. So future is this organic thin film transistor. So this is the way it operates. Okay, this TFT display. You can see here, like right hand side picture. Okay, this is the liquid crystal. This is the ITO substrate, and this here the thin film transistor layer. It actually controls each and every pixel. This is one pixel, so this is controlled by this thin film transistor. Its output. This is another pixel, subpixel. Sorry, each subpixel is actually this is another subpixel. So if red, green, blue, two, three are there, that will make a pixel that will be controlled by one TFT substrate. And rest of the stories you know. Okay, so it is there for controlling individual pixels, TFT. So this will give you better contrast, better picture. Okay, so this is all about the display devices. Uh, okay, LED, LCD, TFT, whatever I say, it's together. Okay, LED is there for backlight, LCD is for twisting, and TFT is there for taking care of the individual pixels to get a better contrast, better picture. Okay, so this is how the latest LCD display technology is working. So that's all for this for now. Thank you. Okay, thanks for listening.